The Matrix wasn't just a groundbreaking science fiction film. It was a production that nearly collapsed under its own ambition, a philosophical treatise disguised as an action movie, and a technical marvel that Hollywood executives actively tried to prevent from being made. Here are 20 weird facts about The Matrix that reveal the chaos, brilliance, and sheer determination behind one of cinema's most influential films. And stick around for the bonus fact, because what happened during the subway fight scene defied all logic and nearly resulted in criminal charges. Let's jack in. Fact number 1. Warner Brothers tried to fire the Wachowskis. Before filming even began, The Matrix nearly lost its directors. Warner Brothers executives thought the script was incomprehensible, too philosophical, too strange, too expensive. They offered the Wachowskis $10 million, then quietly began searching for replacement directors who could fix the movie. The studio proposed a deal: hand the script to a seasoned action director, accept producer credits, and step aside. The siblings refused completely. Their only leverage was an extraordinary weapon, an enormous, meticulous storyboard of the entire film, created over 8 months with artists Steve Skroce and Jeff Darrow. Thousands of frames, every shot visualized, every action sequence mapped in detail. Producer Joel Silver carried the storyboard into the Warner offices like evidence. Executives flipped through page after page of stunning, fully realized action. It was undeniable the Wachowskis knew exactly what they were doing. The studio reversed course, greenlit the film with them directing, but kept the budget tight. The conflict had only begun. Fact number 2. Keanu Reeves' spinal surgery. Keanu Reeves' journey to becoming Neo almost ended before it began. 2 fused cervical vertebrae damaged from years of motorcycle crashes were compressing his spinal cord, causing numbness and electric pain shooting down his arms. Doctors warned him that without urgent surgery, paralysis was a real possibility. Reeves underwent a major operation involving implanted titanium hardware and disc removal. Recovery typically required 6 months of rest. Reeves gave himself 2 weeks. 14 days after surgery, wearing a neck brace beneath his shirt, he stepped into the Matrix's training facility. The Wachowskis had no idea how severe his condition was until they noticed he couldn't turn his head during basic drills. Reeves had deliberately hidden the extent of his injury, afraid the studio would replace him. Yuen Woo-ping restructured the entire fight curriculum around limited neck movement. Reeves trained through pain, immobility, and exhaustion. His commitment became a defining legend of the production. Fact number 3. 6 months of training. Hollywood actors rarely train longer than a few weeks for action roles. The Matrix cast trained for half a year, 26 weeks of non-stop martial arts, flexibility conditioning, wire fu work, weapon handling, and controlled falls. Yuen Woo-ping demanded authenticity. He didn't want movie fighting, he wanted genuine martial rhythm burned into muscle memory. For 7 hours a day, 6 days a week, the cast drilled punches, kicks, sweeps, joint locks, staff work, and wire choreography until their bodies responded automatically. Carrie-Anne Moss spent an entire month learning how to fall safely. Lawrence Fishburne, nearly 50, struggled early, but eventually executed movements stunt teams called miraculous for his age. Hugo Weaving and Keanu Reeves drilled endlessly until their motions matched Woo-ping's standards. The process wasn't just physical, it was philosophical. The Wachowskis believed the cast needed to truly feel the rules of reality bending before attempting to portray it. By filming time, they moved like martial artists, not actors. Fact number 4. Lobby shootout consumed 1/3 of the budget. The iconic lobby shootout, 3 minutes on screen, devoured $18 million of the film's $63 million budget. It became the Wachowskis' battlefield for proving bullet time technology could work outside storyboards. Because the destruction was so extreme, the crew built 3 identical marble lobby sets across separate sound stages. After every take, columns exploded, walls shredded, and floors cratered. Resetting wasn't possible. Each column was custom designed to erupt spectacularly with squibs, debris, and dust clouds. Meanwhile, the bullet time system required 120 still cameras wired to a custom computer system that didn't exist in any industry. The VFX team had to invent the software to synchronize every camera firing within milliseconds. Filming took 10 straight days. Warner Brothers executives panicked at the cost and demanded daily updates. But when they finally saw the raw cut, they stopped questioning everything. The lobby scene wasn't just expensive. It redefined action cinema's visual language. Fact number 5. Carrie-Anne Moss's permanent injury. Carrie-Anne Moss became Trinity through pain, literally. During her very first action sequence, a wire rig malfunctioned while propelling her through the air. Instead of a smooth swing, the mechanism jerked violently, hyperextending her left leg past its natural limit. Moss immediately felt something tear. Doctors diagnosed a partially torn ACL and significant meniscus damage. The recommended treatment was surgery and half a year of recovery, effectively shutting down the entire production. Moss refused. Determined not to be the reason the Wachowskis' dream collapsed, she chose aggressive physical therapy instead. She trained on anti-inflammatories, ice, and custom knee braces hidden beneath her costume. Every twist, kick, and wire pull sent pain through her damaged joint. Yet she never told the studio how severe the injury was, afraid they'd replace her. Trinity's grace and intensity came from an actress performing through agony. To this day, Moss still lives with chronic knee pain from week 1 of filming. Fact number 6. Illegal helicopter filming in Sydney. The helicopter rescue scene Neo grabbing Morpheus through shattered windows was filmed without proper permits. Australian aviation authorities rejected the Wachowskis' stunt proposal, calling it too risky for downtown Sydney's dense morning traffic and office towers. The directors ignored the ruling. They secured a vague aerial photography permit that omitted crucial details and scheduled the stunt for early morning, hoping fewer people would notice. Sydney is never empty. Office workers arrived to find a low-flying helicopter weaving between skyscrapers with a stunt performer dangling from its skids. Panicked civilians flooded emergency lines. Police and aviation officials raced to the scene, but by the time they arrived, the production had already finished filming and was dismantling equipment. Warner Brothers paid fines and negotiated with building owners whose windows cracked from rotor wash. The Wachowskis considered the legal fallout simply another cost to capture the shots they needed. Fact number 7. Hugo Weaving designed Agent Smith's glitch voice. Agent Smith's unsettling voice, those clipped pauses, off-kilter emphases, and chilling over-enunciations was entirely Hugo Weaving's invention. The script described Smith as a cold, efficient antagonist, essentially human, but Weaving recognized something deeper. Smith is software mimicking humanity and software glitches. He listened to early computer voice synth recordings and mimicked their rhythm-mechanical precision interrupted by strange hesitations. That's why Smith pauses mid-sentence where no person would, stresses odd syllables, or seems to buffer before continuing. The Wachowskis immediately recognized the brilliance. It made Smith feel inhuman without special effects, just language twisted subtly wrong. Studio executives initially panicked, fearing audiences would find the voice too strange. The directors refused to change it. Weaving's delivery became iconic, influencing how artificial intelligence characters have been voiced in film, TV, and video games for decades. It turned a standard villain into a terrifyingly uncanny presence. Fact number 8. Subway fight nearly killed Hugo Weaving. The subway fight between Neo and Agent Smith relied heavily on practical effects, including real demolition charges rigged inside concrete pillars. Each explosion required perfect timing to avoid serious injury. During one take, a charge detonated 3 seconds early while Hugo Weaving's face was only inches away. The blast struck him directly, launching him backward onto the tracks. Debris embedded in his scalp. Heat scorched his skin. Dust blinded him. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital where he was treated for a concussion and second-degree burns. Production shut down for 4 days while investigators traced the cause. Electrical interference from the subway system had triggered the premature blast. The effects team rebuilt every demolition setup with redundant safety measures. Even so, Weaving returned shaken. The Wachowskis had to ease him back into rehearsals until he felt safe again. The near accident underscored the razor-thin line between innovation and catastrophe. Fact number 9. Matrix code is reversed Japanese sushi recipes. The iconic reigning green code, cinema's most recognizable digital aesthetic, isn't programming at all. It's Japanese cooking instructions. Production designer Simon Whiteley needed characters that looked technological yet harmless in meaning. He photographed kanji and katakana from his Japanese wife's cookbook collection Sushi Prep, tempura batter ratios, sake temperatures, and scanned them into digital form. To disguise them, he reversed and mirrored the characters, then layered in numbers and symbols for atmosphere. The unmistakable neon green color came from Whiteley's memories of old monochrome monitors. Japanese viewers eventually recognized familiar characters, turning the revelation into a cultural joke. The Matrix runs on recipes. The Wachowskis were initially mortified but embraced the humor. Ironically, the code's nonsensical origins made it even more iconic. It proved that visual mythology doesn't require complexity. It only needs striking imagery and clever design. Today, the cascading green symbols symbolize digital worlds worldwide born from cookbooks. Fact number 10. Lawrence Fishburne refused a stunt double. Lawrence Fishburne decided Morpheus would never use a stunt double, and neither would he. Despite being nearly 50, he insisted on performing every punch, fall, flip, and wire-assisted leap himself. In the dojo fight, that's Fishburne striking and receiving blows at full contact speed. During the rooftop escape, he hung on wires 40 feet above concrete. Stunt coordinators repeatedly warned him that refusing doubles was too dangerous, especially given the physical toll of wire fu. Fishburne refused. Morpheus teaches that limitations are illusions, so Fishburne refused to embody a character who preached transcendence while outsourcing risk. Insurance companies threatened to drop coverage unless safety measures increased. The Wachowskis negotiated a compromise. Fishburne could perform nearly all stunts if he passed medical checks and wore additional protective gear. His intensity elevated every action scene. Morpheus moved with absolute conviction because the actor truly performed what audiences saw. Fact number 11. Woman in the red dress. Cast for real-life distracting power. Fiona Johnson's unforgettable moment as the woman in the red dress came from something unusual. She genuinely distracted entire film crews. While working as an extra on another Australian set, she walked through a scene wearing red, and everyone on crew involuntarily turned to look. The Matrix casting director witnessed this and immediately realized she embodied exactly what the Wachowskis needed: a human glitch, a visual anomaly that steals attention effortlessly. The role wasn't about acting, it was about presence. On the Matrix set, the effect repeated crew members missed cues watching her walk. The Wachowskis leaned into this authenticity, shooting the scene so viewers unconsciously shift focus exactly as Neo does. Johnson speaks only one line, yet became one of the film's most iconic images. The red dress wasn't memorable because of costume brilliance. It was iconic because the woman wearing it possessed an intangible, magnetic pull that cameras amplified. Fact number 12. The sequels were planned before release. The Wachowskis always envisioned The Matrix as a trilogy. Long before Warner Brothers approved the first film, they wrote detailed treatments for Reloaded and Revolutions. Their studio contract included a rare clause granting them full creative control over sequels if the first movie succeeded. While The Matrix was still in post-production, the siblings were already writing sequel scripts and creating elaborate storyboards for action scenes years away from filming. They knew Neo's path, the rise of Smith, Zion's fate, long before audiences met these characters. This allowed the first film to include subtle foreshadowing. The Oracle's apartment number, symbolic dialogue, visual motifs within the code. When the movie exploded into a cultural phenomenon, Warner Brothers activated the trilogy plan immediately. But the Wachowskis weren't scrambling, they were executing a blueprint years in the making. Critics later argued the sequels were overstuffed, but their density came from this early ambition. Fact number 13. Sentinels designed by Giger's protege. The Matrix's terrifying Sentinels, slithering squid-like machines owe their existence to Steve Berg, a direct artistic protege of alien designer H.R. Giger. Berg blended Giger's biomechanical horror with the grace of deep-sea creatures. He studied jellyfish, octopuses, and squids, merging their organic motion with cold metallic textures. Each tentacle contains dozens of articulated segments, programmed to move with unsettling fluidity, alive, yet mechanical. The Wachowskis wanted something frightening without relying on traditional monster tropes. Berg delivered machines that hunt with balletic elegance. The VFX team spent months programming autonomous movement patterns inspired by ant colonies and swarm behavior, making the machines feel coordinated yet unpredictable. When the Sentinels descend on the Nebuchadnezzar, they evoke primal fear, not because they look monstrous, but because they behave like hungry animals with perfect mechanical precision. The design became instantly iconic, proving that beauty and terror can coexist in science fiction creatures. Fact number 14. Crew mocked Warner Brothers with secret shirts. Tension between the Wachowskis and Warner Brothers escalated constantly during production. Executives visited the set demanding changes, faster shooting, cheaper effects, and more conventional action. In response, the fiercely loyal crew created shirts that read, "The Matrix has you," incorporating the Warner Brothers logo. It was a quiet rebellion suggesting the executives were trapped in their own rigid thinking. The Wachowskis secretly loved the shirts and encouraged morale. When executives ordered the shirts banned, the crew wore them inside out so the print subtly showed through. It became a symbolic stand, artists protecting vision against corporate fear. Warner Brothers eventually threatened firings, forcing the shirts off the set, but the spirit stayed. When The Matrix became an unexpected cultural earthquake, the crew felt vindicated. Several of those shirts now exist as rare collectibles, physical artifacts of a creative rebellion fought behind the camera. Fact number 15. Neo's apartment number 101. Neo lives in apartment 101 for a reason. In George Orwell's 1984, Room 101 is where individuals confront their deepest personal fear, the thing that shatters them. The Wachowskis used that reference deliberately. Neo's greatest fear isn't death, it's the possibility that everything he believes about reality is false. Apartment 101 marks the threshold of that existential confrontation. The number appears multiple times, lingering subtly in shots to reward attentive viewers. The film is packed with literary and philosophical references: Alice's rabbit hole, Plato's cave, Descartes' deception demon, but Room 101 holds special weight. It frames Neo's journey as psychological horror rather than adventure. Accepting the truth means facing unbearable uncertainty. What is real? What makes someone human? What if your identity is manufactured? Neo's path echoes Orwell's warning. Truth can destroy before it liberates. The Wachowskis embedded 101 across background details, turning it into a thematic signature for the film. Fact number 16. Agents' earpieces actually worked. The spiral earpieces worn by Agents Smith, Brown, and Jones weren't props, they were functioning communication devices. The sound department wired them so the Wachowskis could speak to the actors during takes without stopping filming. Hugo Weaving received real-time cues, line adjustments, and timing signals directly into his ear while in character. The result added an unsettling meta layer. The actor playing a program was literally receiving instructions from unseen controllers. Other actors found the earpieces unnerving because they never knew what information the agents were being fed. That discomfort carried into performances, especially during scenes like Neo's interrogation, where Keanu Reeves genuinely wasn't sure what Weaving was reacting to. The earpieces symbolize the agent's true nature, extensions of a system, not independent beings. That subtle technical detail blurred practical filmmaking with thematic storytelling, reinforcing the idea that agents are omnipresent, coordinated, and always listening. Fact number 17. Oracle's apartment, filmed in a condemned building. The Oracle's apartment wasn't a set, it was a condemned housing project in Sydney, scheduled for demolition. Location scouts found the structure abandoned due to mold, electrical failure, and structural decay. The Wachowskis loved it instantly. The Oracle exists in a liminal space between illusion and truth, so a half-rotted building created exactly the atmosphere they wanted. The crew had to bring in generators because the building's wiring was unsafe. In some areas, protective gear was required due to air quality hazards. But the authenticity was irreplaceable. The peeling paint, warped wallpaper, water-damaged ceilings, and narrow, claustrophobic hallways weren't production design, they were real. When the Oracle bakes cookies, the scene feels warm yet unsettling because the environment carries decades of neglect. Filming wrapped mere days before demolition crews arrived. Part of the set dressing was still inside when the building came down, erasing the physical location but preserving its spirit on screen. Fact number 18. Keanu Reeves gave away his money. Keanu Reeves earned about $35 million from The Matrix. He kept roughly $1 million. The remaining $34 million went directly to costume designers, visual effects artists, stunt crews, and other below-the-line workers who rarely share in blockbuster profits. Reeves established a private fund that distributed money quietly, based on contribution and need. Some workers paid off mortgages. Others sent children to college. Reeves never publicized it. Crew members revealed the story years later. For the sequels, he repeated the gesture, negotiating lower upfront pay so the studio could allocate more money to effects and stunt departments, then distributing a significant portion of profits to the same teams. He said simply, "The people who do the real work should be rewarded." His generosity became legendary, solidifying a reputation for humility and integrity unmatched in Hollywood. Reeves lived the film's philosophy: systems only work when everyone supporting them is valued. Fact number 19. Required reading. 3 philosophical texts. Before filming, the Wachowskis handed every principal actor 3 books: Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard, Out of Control by Kevin Kelly, and Introducing Evolutionary Psychology by Dylan Evans. These weren't optional. The directors held study sessions discussing hyperreality, systems theory, and human consciousness. They believed actors needed to understand the Matrix philosophically, not just perform the script mechanically. Baudrillard's book appears directly in the film. Neo hides contraband inside a hollowed-out copy open to on nihilism. Fishburne dove deeply into Eastern philosophy. Reeves later said the readings permanently changed his approach to acting. The Wachowskis wanted performances rooted in genuine intellectual comprehension. Their insistence influenced future Hollywood productions, normalizing philosophical prep for genre films. The Matrix became not just an action blockbuster, but a philosophical text in motion because its actors were trained to embody ideas, not just characters. Fact number 20. Color grading as reality mapping. The Matrix's shifting color palettes weren't aesthetic choices, they were coded signals. Bill Pope, the cinematographer, worked with the Wachowskis to create a visual language identifying each reality layer. Scenes inside the Matrix glow with green tint echoing monochrome monitors and suggesting digital artificiality. The real world aboard the Nebuchadnezzar shifts blue-cold, harsh, uninviting. The construct programs are stark white, representing pure possibility and no texture. Achieving the Matrix's green look required custom lens filters that didn't exist commercially. The team manufactured them specifically for the film. Lighting also shifted slightly green during shooting, then deepened in post-production color grading. The Wachowskis wanted audiences to subconsciously prefer the green Matrix because it looked familiar and comfortable, while the blue reality felt inhospitable. Neo's choice to accept truth becomes emotionally heavier because viewers feel the contrast visually. This color-coded storytelling influenced countless films afterward, establishing a new cinematic language for layered realities. Bonus fact: years after The Matrix, both Wachowski siblings came out as women, and the film's themes took on deeper resonance. The story revolves around awakening to a concealed truth about one's identity, rejecting a false life imposed by external systems. Neo's journey mirrors the experience of recognizing that your assigned identity doesn't align with your true self. The red pill symbolizes choosing to see reality despite fear, a metaphor embraced by many trans audiences. Switch was originally written as a gender-fluid character, appearing male in the real world and female in The Matrix. Studio executives forced the directors to remove this, but the symbolism remained. The film explores ideas of bodily autonomy, constructed realities, liberation from oppressive systems, and choosing authenticity over comfort, all themes the directors later acknowledged reflected their personal struggles before transitioning. The Matrix wasn't created as a trans allegory, but its DNA unmistakably carries the Wachowskis' truth. The Matrix wasn't just a special effects revolution or a philosophical action film, it was a deeply personal story about awakening to truth, told by filmmakers who fought every day to preserve their vision against systems designed to make them conform. The cast and crew endured injuries, legal battles, studio interference, and technical challenges that should have destroyed the production. Instead, they created something that changed cinema permanently, proving that artistic vision combined with impossible determination can indeed bend reality itself. If this video opened your eyes to the real story behind The Matrix, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the chaos behind your favorite films. Remember, there is no spoon, but there are plenty more secrets waiting to be revealed. Until next time, stay unplugged.